So, a new image that has come online from a TikToker is really pointing all signs that the Court of Owls are going to appear in the new Batman sequel, the Batman Part 2. So Matt Reeves universe, this is aside from the James Gunn Superman stuff that's going on right now, and we it sounds like we are getting the Court of Owls in this. There is a image, a photograph online. Take a look at this right here that says Semper Vigilans. Now, I probably butchered the pronunciation of that, but what I will say is in Latin, that translates to always vigilant or ever watchful. So, this is a great clue. This is a great Easter egg, a great nugget that if you know the Court of Owls, they have a Gotham nursery rhyme, and they mention in there that they their their cult, their group watches all the time. So ever watchful, watches all the time, always vigilant, watches all the time. Those two things go hand in hand. I think that we are going to get the Court of Owls in this. We have been debating and discussing for months now because we know the people that are in this movie. We just don't know who they're playing. The closest thing that I think we have to any confirmation without an official announcement are these images of Sebastian Stan, who we know is in this movie. And we've seen him with the tattoos, we've seen him with the shaved head. And more, it seems like he is playing uh, Victor Zaz. So that could be just a side character, a villain who is connected to all this. But I think the biggest ones are, um, Scarlett Johansson, who we don't know who she's playing. But more importantly, I think Charles Dance. So maybe you know him from, Game of Thrones. Maybe you know him as far back as the Golden Child. He is an older actor at this point, and who better than for him to be the leader of the Court of Owls and just sort of the mastermind and the head of that? He just has that, that like British, aura and kind of arrogant demeanor. He plays that role so well in so many of his acting roles. And I think that, you know, if they're doing the Court of Owls, that makes so much sense to hire an actor and cast an actor like him to do that. And we know that there is a female um, member in that hierarchy who is high ranking, and I think that Scarlett Johansson gets a chance to play a villainous role in this. I think she would be perfect playing that. We have seen the Court of Owls, obviously in in DC Comics and within Batman's universe, but we have seen them in other media. We've seen them they were in the video game, right? They were in Gotham Knights. And that came out back in like 2021. Was really trying to capitalize on the popularity of the Arkham series. But it just didn't have it. It wasn't very popular, it wasn't very well received, but they did appear in Gotham Knights. And then in the Gotham Knights TV show on the CW back in 2023, they were in there for a little bit of a time as well. And so this is kind of the first time we'll get a big, if this is happening, take this with a grain of salt at this point. But it does seem like, man, that was a photo taken on the set. That seems like some pretty close to concrete proof that we are getting the Court of Owls in Batman Part 2. I think Matt Reeves has this challenge of doing things that have never been done before. We've had so many of these Batman series, whether you go back to Keaton's Batman and the Burton movies, then the Schumacher movies with Val Kilmer and George Clooney and what they did. There's such a big rogues gallery, but there's so many movies. You go to the Dark Knight trilogy, Christopher Nolan's films, and the villains that he used there. You're trying to find new ways to tell new stories with characters that haven't really had their chance to shine, and you can kind of catch audiences off guard. I think we think Joker's going to be in this. That has not been, it's been confirmed by insiders, but it hasn't been announced by the studio. So again, we he was edited out of the first Pattinson movie, so maybe we do get sort of a Anthony Hopkins Hannibal um, scene in this movie where Batman is talking with the Joker at Arkham, trying to figure out, the motivations of this Court of Owls, if he knows anything information about them, if he knows anything about Victor Zsasz and trying to catch a serial killer and things like that. There's so many ways that Matt Reeves can weave new stories that we haven't seen yet in live action into this film, and so I think we're gonna wait. At this point, we're 5 years after the release of the first Batman, and then this isn't even supposed to come out till next year, so it'll be 6 years later. So if they play into that in the storyline that Batman has been fighting crime for 6 years, we just haven't seen it. We've obviously gotten the Penguin show, which is part of this universe, and we know that Colin Farrell's Penguin will have a role in this, probably pretty similar to the first movie, where he was just kind of a side character and not the main villain, the way that the Riddler was. So, lots to look forward to with the Court of Owls. That is the one storyline I think I'm hoping for more than anything with this film, and I think that doing something like this would be perfect. And a new story, a new take, and I think they could do a lot of really, really cool stuff, especially with the cast they've assembled. It's now starting to make a lot more sense why they haven't said who they are, but why they casted who they did. So we'll look forward to that, and we'll look forward to more news. Hopefully, Warner Brothers / whatever movie company they do in the future, or James Gunn is able to give us some sort of presentation. They weren't at Comic-Con this year, so maybe at Comic-Con next year, or some sort of presentation in the winter. That would be awesome to give us some new footage, and we'll all be so ready for this first trailer. That'd be a huge day for us.